You might have heard a lot about Sentry, that he is Marvel Superman, that he is very powerful, and that he has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns within him. But the real question still remains. Who is Sentry? Robert Bob Reynolds, known as Sentry, was a name no one had heard of before the year 2000. Even the best superheroes cannot face him. Hulk respects him, and he was once Reed Richards' best friend. But if you don't know all of this about him, it's okay. Sentry himself didn't know this about himself either, and that's what makes this character interesting. This character is about to appear in the Thunderbolts movie, and I want to know if there's anyone in that movie who can handle this character. So today we're going to talk about who Sentry is, a simple question with a not-so-simple answer. Keeping spoilers in mind, let's get started. So far, we know that Robert Bob Reynolds will make his first appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, in the Thunderbolts movie, played by Pullman. This character can easily come close to Hulk and Thor in the MCU, and in some cases, he might even give them a tough fight. He is literally Marvel's Superman, and his story is very interesting. The creator of this character, Jenkins, had the idea of bringing forth a new character who was connected to Marvel Universe's history, but was forgotten by people for some reason. Sentry, that is Robert Reynolds, was first seen in the 2000 miniseries The Sentry, where we meet a middle-aged, overweight man named Bob Reynolds. One night, he suddenly remembers that he is Sentry, a superhero with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns, and that he gained these powers from a special serum. He wakes up and realizes that his enemy, Void, has returned. Bob goes to his old friends to warn them, but he finds that no one recognizes him, nor does anyone know who Sentry is. That's when Bob starts remembering everything about himself, that he was Sentry and that he had dealt with his enemy Void. He remembers how he had eased Angel from the X-Men's fear of falling, how Peter Parker had taken a photo of him that earned Peter a Pulitzer Prize and fame, how Bruce Banner in his Hulk form had never forgotten Sentry and called him the Golden Man, and how Mr. Fantastic remembered that Sentry was his best friend and that they had teamed up on many adventures. At the same time, the general public also starts recalling who Sentry was, and even Sentry's sidekick, Scout, remembers everything, including the scars Void had given him. Void was also responsible for Scout losing one of his hands. Robert and Mr. Fantastic were both shocked as to why they and everyone else had forgotten about him. They each began their own investigations, while the threat of Void loomed closer to Earth. Robert, in his watchtower above Stark Tower, tries to access his AI companion, Clock, to find out what happened. Clock doesn't obey Robert's commands, and when Robert asks who gave the final commands to Clock, it reveals Reed Richards' name. Reed Richards, with the help of Dr. Strange, remembers what really happened. In 1947, Operation Rebirth was launched in Canada, where not only was there an attempt to create a super soldier serum, but they also tried to amplify the power of that serum 100-fold. Many years passed without any significant results, and as departments got divided, many people got involved in sub-projects and no one paid attention to this project anymore. A scientist, however, managed to create the Golden Sentry serum on his own, and during this time, a meth addict named Robert Reynolds broke into their lab and injected himself with this compound, giving him the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. But the serum's effect on Robert wasn't long-lasting, so he needed to take it repeatedly. However, the scientist professor warned him that each time he needed to take the serum again, the dose would have to be increased to achieve the same effect, which would be very dangerous in the long run. Robert didn't listen to the professor at all. He used his power to save people and became an optimistic and socially accepted superhero. He made many superhero friends, including the Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Professor X. During this time, he got married, and Reed Richards was his best man. After the wedding, his wife realized that Robert had become addicted to the serum. Then Void appeared, a monster hidden in the shadows, whose terror nearly killed Sentry's sidekick Scout, drove Hulk down a path of madness, and took the lives of 1,000,000 people in Manhattan. However, it was later revealed that Void was none other than Sentry himself. The serum's overdose had tampered with his mind, where he began to see himself divided into three people: Robert Reynolds, Sentry, and Void. Where Sentry had saved millions of lives, Void had taken the lives of millions. At that time, Sentry decided that it was time for him to leave. He, along with Reed and his AI clock, erased the memory of his existence from the entire world, which is why when his memory returned years later, he couldn't understand why no one in the world remembered him. In the present time, seeing the threat of Void return, Reed gathers several superheroes. Sentry himself says that it is time for everyone to forget again. Then, with the help of Clock, Reed, and Doctor Strange, Robert disappears from everyone's memory again and starts living a normal life. However, this time his memory wasn't completely erased. So that was the story of Robert Bob Reynolds, aka Sentry. You can understand why not many people talk about this character, because his story is a bit complicated. Recently, we saw the D23 leaked trailer of Thunderbolts where we saw Lewis Pullman in this role. And in the trailer, we also noticed the Golden Sentry serum. Although I'm excited to see what angle Marvel Cinematic Universe gives to Sentry's story. As I told you, this character has tremendous power, but no control over himself. Such a dangerous character can trouble every superhero, because no one knows what his next move will be. Sentry got his power from the Golden Sentry serum, and in the comics, it is explained that the serum sends his molecules forward in time, making him several 100,000 times stronger than Captain America. Sentry has faced Thor and Galactus. When Iron Man scanned him, he couldn't detect any physical weakness in his body. At one point, his powers were even referred to as probability manipulation. He is literally Marvel Superman, whom perhaps no one can defeat. And Lewis Pullman is perfect for this role. I've seen Lewis Pullman's performance in Top Gun Maverick, which clearly shows that this guy has potential. But somewhere, he's also holding himself back. With Sentry's appearance, many more great stories have opened up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including my favorite, Dark Avengers, which I believe could be the future name of Thunderbolts. Siege is another good storyline. However, I might sound a bit optimistic, but now that Sentry is about to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it means we're not far from World War Hulk. In the World War Hulk storyline, Hulk returns from Sakaar and brings with him a destruction that could destroy the world. Hulk is in his World Breaker form, which even the best superheroes cannot stop. But when no other option works, Sentry steps in. I wish this comes true. So, friends, that was the video about Sentry. You know there are many Superman-like superheroes in the Marvel Universe, like Hyperion, Gladiator, and Blue Marvel, and their stories are very interesting. But if I missed any details, or if you have any new facts related to this video, please let us know in the comments. To understand Spider-Man's future in MCU, watch the video above. And to know the future of Henry Cavill's Wolverine, watch the one below. I'll be back with a new video soon.